You guys living when Papa Harry died?
Mosley.
Bowling Green?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know the river that he... Barren River?
Uh-huh.
Barren River. I'll have to look that up.
Uh-huh. That's it, all right.
Oh.
Sure is.
What are you trying to do over there?
I got something on the floor I'm trying to pick up.
Oh, okay.
That's a mirror I was looking at.
You want me to pick that up for you?
No, I get it.
You sure now?
Yeah, I get it. I can't do as much now as I could before I moved here, when I still had my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But I can still do quite a bit.
What was Papa Harry's brother's full name? Do you know?
Joe's all I ever knew.
Joe is all we ever know?
All I ever knew.
Okay. And Joe Bratton, was it Joseph or Joe?
Which one? My brother or him?
Him. We're talking about Papa Harry's brother.
Just Joe. That's all I ever knew.
Okay. His name was Joe. That's all we know. Joe Bratton.
Yeah.
Okay. Where were you guys living when Papa Harry died?
Mosley.
Bowling Green?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know the river that he... Barren River?
Uh-huh.
Barren River. I'll have to look that up.
Uh-huh. That's it, all right.
Okay.
Sure is.
Did you ever meet or know Uncle Jim Lynn's full name? Was his last name Lynn?
Mm-hmm.
And what about his parents?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know them?
No.
Okay.
He was somebody that lived in town, had two little girls, was some kin to him. Once in a while he would mention them, but we never saw them.
Okay. So, his parents we don't know anything about.
Mm-mm.
And his relatives.
Mm-mm. Except the man with the two little girls. I don't remember his name.
Did you ever get to meet Gene Miller?
I've seen him.
Okay.
But I was very small.
Okay.
Papa looked just like it. He did. He looked just like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if Lewis Bratton... I don't even know who Lewis Bratton is.
Papa's granny's father.
Okay. Is he buried in Kentucky or Indiana?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I never knew him. He was before my time.
Okay.
I just heard about him.
Okay.
Uncle Lewis.
That's a new one on me even.
Well, and I tell you another thing about him, about Granny that I never understood. Her mother had the last few, I don't know how it was, but she knew something about slavery. She must have been small or something and barely knew it. But she had a lot of Indian, you know, she was where we got the Indian blood from her. And then her father, then Granny's father was Uncle Lewis Bratton. And he was a very big man, and he was a black man.
Wasn't Mama part Indian? Didn't Mama have some Indian on her side?
No, I don't.
Not that we know of.
Not that we know of, no.
Oh, okay.
But she's got the height.
Yeah, you can look at her.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But Mama's father, what was his name? I'd like me to forget somebody's name way back there. His mother's name was Jane Tucker. His name was Baker. His last name was Baker.
I thought that was Mom Emma's maiden name.
It was. That was her father's name, too.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of his first name.
Oh, okay.
Seemed like to me I knew that along the way, some kind of way. But Mama's mother's name was Josephine. And when she married him, she was a Josephine Baker.
Mm-hmm.
But they separated. And my grandfather on Mama's side moved to Louisville and took Aunt Blanche and Uncle Willie. Do you know about Uncle Willie, Mama's brother?
You told me about him once.
Well, she just had them two, and they both had been. Aunt Blanche was married 3 times. Uncle Willie was married 1 time that we know of. And we never had, and Papa had, Uncle Joe was all he had, so we never had first cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Neither side had children, so we didn't have first cousins.
You told me about how Papa Harry took care of Mom Emma, but tell me again.
Told you what?
How Papa Harry took care of Mom Emma.
Took care, oh yes, he took good care of her. Now she minded, just like we did. Whatever he said, that's what it was. I don't care what it was. And she didn't argue about it. And Harry said so-and-so, and that's what we do. All of us.
Ain't that the sign of the times? I mean, that's the way we did things then, right?
Yeah. But he took good care of her. He did things for her that he never did for... When he died, his teeth was all bad in the front.
Mm-hmm.
But hers was... He had hers fixed. She had 2 gold teeth in front. He took good care of her, and he bought her... She had suits. I don't know where she got them clothes. I guess I was little. He bought her a sewing machine. She liked to sew. None of the rest of Negro women had a sewing machine. Wasn't them kind that you use your foot pedal.
You used to tell me about her going to Indianapolis. You said Aunt Blanche was in Indianapolis.
She come to visit her every 2 years. And the time she come here to visit, the year in between, see, she come every 2 years. Well, that other year, Aunt Blanche come to Bowling Green and stayed with us a couple of weeks.
Now, how many went with her to Indianapolis?
Whoever was small.
Whoever the youngest one was, huh?
Yeah. Well, now, Bust and I came at the same time. And then, but that was the last time. I guess that's first and the last time that I came. And then Buster and Josephine next time. The next time, yeah. And then she came. But Aunt Blanche was always jealous of Papa. Because he was light-skinned. Granny wasn't too crazy about Mama, because she thought he should have married a lighter-skinned woman instead of somebody dark like Mama. But Mama said Mama wasn't black, she's just darker brown, you know.
My grandmother was beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Mom Emma looked good.
Yeah.
What about y'all going to school and church and I never heard you mention your friends at You talked about the family a lot, but you never talked to us about you guys going to school, other than you beating everybody up because they messed with Uncle Buster.
Yeah, I did.
They mess with Uncle Buster and you get them.
Yeah, Josephine either way.
Yeah. What about, where did you go to school at?
Delafield.
Delafield? Was that in Bowling Green or is it? Yeah,
it's a county. It was a county school.
Okay.
For people that lived out of the city limits.
I never. That's something you never told me about.
Well,
Delafield. Is that it? Delafield. Okay.
We had the first year I went to school. Our carpenter, our pastor at church, was also a teacher, and we just had one old building, old building, and all of the girls and boys, regardless of what grade you was in, we all went in that one big old school the first year. And they was building a new school. And then when I got ready to go the second year, well, we went to that new school. It had 2 rooms.
A whole 2 rooms, huh?
It had 2 rooms.
Okay.
It was a new building, and from the 1st to the 4th grade was in one side, and then from the 5th and the 8th grade was in the other side. And then we had a kitchen, 2 cloakrooms where you hang up your coats and things, and had a big old stove, big old heating stove to have heat in the winter in both rooms. And our room was one, and then the other room was one.
Okay. Now, all of that was in Delafield.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about, you used to tell me how Papa Harry, in the wintertime, he would get his stuff ready for summer. What kind of work did he lay out for y'all to do?
Well, we didn't have to do only just chores around the house.
Yeah.
Somebody was they stayed on you by bringing in the slop jar that we had to have at night, so because we had outdoors toilet, you know. Well, we had that and had a top to go on it, and it was somebody's duty to be sure that was in before everybody went to bed. If you got up and it wasn't there, you was in trouble.
Who made the fire?
In the morning?
Y'all made the fire in the morning? You used to lay the fire in... Did you have 2 stoves? One in the kitchen, one wood stove in the kitchen, and one
in the mom and dad's bedroom.
Oh, they had one in the bedroom too?
They had, well, we didn't have no living room.
Oh, okay.
They had their bedroom, and they had a stove in there, and the other room, we had 2 big bedrooms. And then later Papa built a dining room onto that one, that side, so we had another room, and Buster had a cot. That's what they called them. About size, it wasn't big as my bed, and it was, you could fold them up. And but Mama fixed it, you know, it didn't have to be folded up. Folded up if you wanted it folded up. And he slept in there, Buster did.
I used to have to lay a fire at night, so all we did in the morning was light it when we got up. Who did that down there?
I'd laid a fire in the kitchen.
Okay.
And we had a bucket behind the stove that had corn cobs in it, and they poured coal all over them, and you just used one of them to go under the bottom of the fire, and then some small kindling and then bigger wood, and you'd light that. Now, when I got big enough that they, I guess they figured that I wouldn't mess up with lighting it, you know, well, I would get up and light the fire, and start for Mama.
That's what I was asking you about, chores like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if you had a fire, then when the fire went out, you had ashes. Who pulled the ashes out and got them? All of that.
We all did.
We all did, huh?
Yeah,
all
they had to come out of there, and we took outdoors, you know. Out there.
So did Papa Harry lay all of that out on what to do, or did Mom Emma do that?
No, she did that.
Mom Emma would do
that. But he was behind it. Yeah.
Y'all knew not to mess up.
It didn't cross your mind. It didn't. Wasn't no. What is that word I'm thinking? Wasn't nothing in your mind about not doing what was said. No.
Okay.
And they had one old habit. You see, the way families lived, when they'd go visiting, they didn't need nobody. They didn't never need a sitter to stay with your kids while they went someplace. Because when they went someplace visiting, you went too. All of you went.
Well,
and that's the way it was. And but now people that lived close enough together where the children could play with each other, we didn't have too much of that. So we stayed at home. When we got through with our chores, where we could play like normal people. And don't get into stuff. I got into stuff all the time, got a whooping. I got more whoopings than anybody. Oh, he'd like to whoop me to death with that razor strap. He had a razor strap. What he did is straight razor on to shave. You know what a straight razor looks like.
Yeah. But and he had a garden there at home. I mean, did y'all have chores to do with the garden, or did he just take care of that himself?
Well, when they setting out sweet potatoes, or setting out tobacco, you got little plants like that. Well, they went along. The men went along and made hills, and put a hole in it. No, they just made the hills. And you go along with a basket full of plants on your arm, and you drop one on each hill, and they come behind you, and they got a wooden peg. They made the hill, stick the plant in there, and they got some water, poured so much in there with it. Now, when we drop the plants, if we get one too little, you drop two. We knew that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what happened. I was bad about getting into things. I don't know what I was looking for. But I know I had Buster, and he'd do whatever I wanted him to do, you know. One day, it was below zero. We was out there playing in our little raggedy coats and things that we had. And the rain barrel sit right under the corner of the house in order to, because I don't know what kind of gutters if we had any. But the water would run down in there so it was clean. And we used the rainwater to wash our hair and special jobs.
Yeah.
Well, we was out there, I made holes in the ice in that barrel. And had Buster and I, we had empty bottles that had blue in them. And we had strings tied on them. We'd dip in there and get that water and throw it on each other. We got a whooping for that. Well, I was the one that started. But let me tell you about this one. This particular day, we went to visit Grandma. Granny, we called her Granny. We was going to Granny's house.
Now, this ain't Sally, this is Granny.
Granny.
Okay.
She's Sally. She's the one Uncle Jim called her. Her name was Sally. But he called her Sally. So now that's my nickname. Everybody here calls me Sally. Well, anyway, we was going to Granny's house. And we going on. The mama could she could drive the buggy, the horse and buggy.
Mm-hmm.
And Buster and I was sitting in there with her, you know, riding, going on down the road, gravel road, so far.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, going on down the road, and I heard this poor little kitten was crying. And I always loved cats when I was little. I always loved cats. And I saw him, he come out of the bushes. Somebody done throw him away, you know, didn't want him. And I said, Mama, can I get him? And she stopped and let me get him. Took him with me. He sat in my lap all the way. And coming back, he did the same thing. I took him home. Well, now, I couldn't have him in the house. I didn't expect to have him in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept that cat till he was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Big old cat. And he went out and went to catching somebody that I don't like. And when we moved, I just left him.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't take him with us.
No, you said when you went to places, so you had that.
I was going to tell you about getting into things.
Oh, go ahead.
Papa had a toolbox that he built himself. It was wood, and he had a lock on it and everything. And he had his good tools in there, you know, all his carpenter tools, you know, and his hammer and everything. It was in there. For some reason, he left it open. Left the lock off of it. Well, now, when we went to Granny's that day, we saw the telephone men going up them poles with something on their shoes that made them stick to that.
Spikes.
We didn't understand what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we just loved that. Well, now, I have to go back and tell you, on first place, but then we had, Josephine was a baby. Because I was about 8. See, I was 7 years older than her.
Mm-hmm.
I was 8. Buster was 4. Well, anyway, going to Granny's in the buggy. And Mama's, they all sat down, and we had to do what she said, too, you know. Sit down and shut up. And so we was going on there. She let me get this kitty. I got the kitty, took him on with me. And but them men that bothered us, you know, about them going up there in the post.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't understand how they'd make his feet stick on the post.
Mm-hmm.
So next morning, Papa lifted his lock off of the toolbox,
Mm-hmm.
and I went in there and got his claw hammer. We said, now we've been saving up. Whenever they'd buy anything at the grocery, which was seldom, they'd have a little piece of string on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we started with a little bitty ball about like that. By now it's pretty big, you know. We've been saving it for a long time because they let us make kites in the spring, you know, and we'd get them up with them strings, take some rags and tear them up and make tails to go on it. Anyway, I got in the toolbox and got this hammer out. And Buster said, I forgot to tell you, that in the daytime, there was 3, we played like we was all boys. All of us. Of course, I was older.
Now you, Uncle Buster, and Mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was Henry.
Okay.
Josephine was Henry. Buster was Virgil.
And he's the only boy in the group.
He was Virgil, and my name was James somebody. No. Well, I forget what my name was. Can't think of it. But we was all boys in the daytime, and that night after supper, we played like we was girls, and we'd play with paper dolls.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I got this hammer out of Papa's toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I found some tacks somewhere. I don't know where I found them, but I found them. We had an old fence around the house.
Mm-hmm.
All the way around the house. It was kind of big. house kind of sit on the side of the hill. So we got this. I said, now wait. I found some tacks and I got the hammer, see. And then we started climbing up that fence right next to the post.
Mm-hmm.
And take a piece of this string and we drive tack in there and make it a place where to hold the string. And then we go to the next one and climb up the fence,
Mm-hmm.
put a nail in and carry this string all the way around. And we had a good time. We'd be in the telephone men. See, we was all boys. Don't you know, if I'd have put that hammer back when I got through with it, I'd have been all right. But I forgot it. And it rained. It poured down rain and I was in the bed and I thought about it. Oh, Lord, I'm dead. And who you think picked it up? Papa. See, when he got up, he went out to the barn, feed the stock, and he had other things. Well, he come back, and breakfast was supposed to be ready by then, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when he come back for that, he saw that hammer, and I saw him when he picked it up. I said, oh, Lord, I'm dead. Poor little Buster. He was the cutest thing you ever was. See, he was 4. He run in the house, and Mama used to wear them dreadlocks. She didn't wear them old long dresses down to the floor, but her apron would be long sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And she's standing there trying to turn over them pieces of cornbread, you know, because he'd be there in a minute. He done picked up this hammer, you know. She turned over the cornbread and Buster run in there and got on the mama's apron. 2 little rusty shoes was sticking out. I felt so sorry for him. I always felt sorry for him because he's scared to death of Papa. Scared to death. I was scared too because I know what I'd get, you know, but he just trembled. He'd be so afraid. And Papa went there and snatched him out from under that apron and wore him out. Well, I went around the house the other way. Thought I was getting, now you know better than to run, you know. But I thought I would put it off for a while by going around the other side of the house and I met him. He had that on his mind too. So he would come around and met me. He wore me up, tore me up.
Mm.
But I got them all the time. All the time. The last whooping I got, I was 13 years old. And I didn't cry because I was mad. Well, he whipped me for nothing. The woman said that he told her that I could go with him over to the country club, across the road. And he didn't say it. She lied, but I didn't know it, see. And they had to wait on me to go to town. And when I got back, that's what I got. He icked me up with a switch. One of them red long switches to lap around you. I had whips and things around.
Mm-hmm.
But I sure was mad at him. Man, it's what did to kill me. Because I looked him on his eyeball and I didn't cry, not one tear. I didn't. But he whipped me for nothing, you know. And they wouldn't let you explain, you know.
I know.
Huh?
I said, I know.
No.
Y'all raised me the same way.
No.
With no explanation.
Didn't let
You better not even think about it.
But I never forgot that whipping.
Okay. You said Mom and Emma drove the buggy. So when y'all would go over to somebody's house, you said they'd take you with them.
Yeah.
Was everybody could get in there? Uncle Joseph or was Uncle Joseph? He was gone then, huh?
He was gone. He was gone, and Elsie was gone.
Okay, and he else. Oh, so it was only the 3 of you left.
That's
then.
all.
Okay. Now, how much older was Aunt Elsie than you?
7 years and 5 months.
Okay. So
Mama had 5
she
miscarriages between us.
So she was about 16 or 17 years old?
Well, she lived here then.
Yeah.
She came here where Aunt Blanche was.
Okay, but if she was 7 years older, you was 8. That made her 15.
15, yeah.
Okay, when she came here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she was still living with Aunt Blanche as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Didn't
All right.
last me very long.
But the three of you, that's where I was going. You said Papa Harry and Mom Emma, when y'all went over to somebody's house, they take you along. So everybody got in the buggy, or did you walk?
That was, well, we had a Surrey.
Okay.
Got 2 seats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So all five of you was in the Surrey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
When Papa went.
Yeah, well, he went to church too. Wait, well, let me tell you about when you go visit somebody else on Sunday. Oh, everybody would go. And you'd go early in the morning and you'd stay all day.
Okay.
And the old people would be, the women would get in the kitchen and help the woman where we go to visit, help her to cook dinner, and they'd have big dinners with everything, you know. Sometime it was at Granny's house, sometime it was at somebody else's house. But they had one conversation that I always, because a lot of times I heard what they were talking about on purpose, see. And they was talking about, if I come over your house and if I don't do right, well, you can whoop me and send me home. They had that kind of rule, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't, same thing if you come to my house and you didn't do right, I whoop you and send you home. Papa tell you, he called them young'uns. If my young'uns come over here and they don't do right or they do anything wrong, you send them home and don't hit them. There I was them. And he meant that. Didn't nobody hit us neither. Because he said not to. Now, he would hit you, but he didn't let, he say, I do my own hitting. Don't hit him.
Okay, about how old were you when, did Sally ever tell you about Papa Harry's father? Or did they tell you? How did you find out?
They didn't talk about it.
How did you?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I think I've learned from Aunt Sadie and Mama. Mm-hmm. I think when I got big enough, mm-hmm. when she's telling me about the birds and bees mm-hmm. and everything, well, she did tell me that, but he didn't know.
Okay, so it wasn't Sally. Well, I know they didn't. We don't talk about things like that today.
No. No.
But by what age were you? Do you remember when you remember? Do you have any idea how old you were when you did find out?
10, 11.
Really?
Something like that.
Okay.
See, I listened a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But see, she didn't know. Mama let him, Granny let him go to live with some white people. Didn't I tell you about that?
Yeah.
See, Uncle Jim used to be a drunk.
Used to be. I thought that we was always a drunk.
I just didn't say that. What I'm thinking about was after we got big enough, and because he never was no kind of he called himself a farmer, but he wasn't nothing. He couldn't raise nothing because he didn't take care of it. Even the garden that was raising food, you know. He's too busy drinking and stopping and talking to everybody and didn't know what he was talking about half the time. But we thought he was wonderful because he could have been busy working, work that he really need to be doing, and he quit in the middle of the road to take us fishing. We thought he was wonderful, but he wasn't. And Papa hated him.
Well,
he was mean to him and his brother. He's the cause of Uncle Joe being gone, you know.
Yeah, you told me about that.
He hit him across the head with steel traps. He'd been out to run his traps, and he took them out. They had a chain on each one of them, and had something looked like a Carter key. You know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd carry them by them chains. He had 3 of them in his hand, holding by the chains, and he'd also been drinking. And he started in the front door, and he stumbled. And he laid it on the boy. Uncle Joe was coming past the door. Didn't have no glass in the door. He was just passing the door. And Uncle Jim said he made him fall. He's drunk.
I was not.
So,
and Uncle Jim hit him across the head with them steel traps.
and that's what killed Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
Hi, sweetie.
Hello.
How are you?
Better now than
Hi,
I see
Jane.
you too. Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Go ahead and take it.
To go to town to church, to Bethel,
Mm-hmm.
in town. And then Papa never had belonged to church. But he joined Bethel. And he had on his overalls and things, he's clean as a pin. Mama ironed them he had them overalls with the straps over his shoulders. That's the kind he wore, you know. He didn't have blue jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And he had them on, and he was clean as a pin, but they got up and went and joined church. And we had the nerve to be embarrassed.
Well.
Because he had on and he wore leggings on top of his overalls.
Mm-hmm. On top of his overalls.
Legs. But something I wanted to tell you about. Well, we had this little country church. We go to church on Sunday. I remember, now this was when she didn't take nobody to church but me. I think Buster
We're going to do your hair, honey.
stayed with Granny or something, because she was just no, she wasn't born.
Who, Mother wasn't born?
No, well,
Go
Buster was,
No.
Buster wasn't
You
born.
went the wrong direction. Jimmy, you went the wrong direction.
Uncle Buster wasn't born.
No. He was a year old. Something like that. Anyway, I went to church with Mama, just Mama and I. And she dressed me up, and I had on my little starch dress, and I had real long braids. My hair was bright red, and had a ribbon, big bows of ribbon on each one. Well, when we went to church, she gave me a nickel. Now, you didn't hardly ever have a nickel or a dime. You didn't hardly ever even see them. And they didn't go back to the grocery because he got everything in the fall. They didn't have to buy nothing but coffee. Because he'd buy sugar by 100-pound bag, flour, and everything like that. This particular time, Mama and I went to church. She gave me this nickel. Well, now, kids very seldom had a nickel, and you got one, you was tickled to death. And I'd sit in church, and I held it in my hand, and I was trying to decide what I was going to buy with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
First thing you think about is a bottle of Coke, bottle of pop. They had Coke back in them days. And then I changed my mind. I think, I bet they had candy bar that you could get for a nickel. You know, have a candy bar. I'd think, I'd keep changing back from one decision to the other in my mind, you know. Mama's sitting there. Sometimes they was singing and preaching and everything. When they got ready to take up collection, they had a little old end table you'd have in your house. A little table about like that. Right up in the front. And they didn't have no choir or nothing like that. And so I got my nickel. And we was sitting there, Mama and the rest of the old sisters was singing, you know, when they got through. And Mama says to me, what'd you do with that nickel I gave you? I said, I got it. She said, well, I gave it to you to put in church. I said, I thought it was mine. Now, you talk about hurting your feelings. That hurt your feelings because you thought it was yours, you know. No, you have to put it in church because they need your nickel. They need your nickel. And she kept telling me about, get up and go up and put your nickel in. So I got up and walked up there slowly. And they need my nickel. I laid it down and picked one up of theirs and come on back. If she'd had me at home, she'd have wore me out. But she said, I saw what you did. Go right back and take it back. And then everybody laughed, you know. All the rain people laughed. Ooh, it sure hurt my
If that had been Papa Harry, he would have wore you out.
Yeah, yeah.
But my grandmother had an understanding of that.
Well,
Hey, Margaret, tell me, after Papa Harry got killed, how did the family? I mean, what did y'all do? How did y'all make it? What did you start doing?
Wasn't much you could do. Mama had a little old piece of job. Well, I left home pretty after that.
How old were you?
Papa got killed. I was almost 18 with her. See, I married her father. He was in the 3C camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed at home till he got out.
Okay.
And
that's when they ate them white beans?
yes, Lord. Oh, my goodness. I would never want none of them things. But it was hard. Mama had a hard time. Pretty soon he got out and I moved to his hometown, Jada and I. And
so there was Mama Emma, Uncle Buster, and Mother.
And Josephine, yeah.
And what did they do?
She had a little old job by the week, didn't pay nothing. And they just barely got around on that, barely got around. Well, Abel Edge talked to move up here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what old furniture and stuff she had. She just had to get rid of it. You couldn't sell it. Just give it away or leave it there or something. And
so
she moved up here and lived with Abel Edge and Uncle Bill, her husband. They lived on Capitol Avenue, 2312 Capitol Avenue. And I lived in Danville, Kentucky then, see. Oh, poor. I ain't never seen nobody. Them was the poorest people I ever saw in my life.
No.
I got out of that, honey.
Was you married before Papa Harry got killed, or you got married after he got killed?
No, we was married, but he didn't know it.
Oh, okay.
Wow. He found out.
Okay, so...
But see, he wasn't raised up with Granny. Didn't I ever tell you about John Cameron?
No. Now that's one. That's one on me.
It was a white couple. The Granny, she knew everybody in the neighborhood. Because she had cooked for different people, you know, and that's how they got to know her. They called her Aunt Sally. And this couple didn't have no kids, and they always wanted kids, and they didn't have any.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
Uncle
the
Jim,
people that raised Papa Harry? Yeah. That's where he got his skills from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Granny, Uncle Jim wasn't nice to Granny, see? And he remembered that. And he gave him and Uncle Joe away one time. Did I tell you that? Granny didn't know where they was.
Boy, Uncle Jim was fun.
Special fellow, wasn't he?
Uncle Jim was having fun.
Well, he did the wrong thing. Papa went and stayed with these people. They asked Granny for him. See, his brother's dead now. Uncle Jim done killed his brother. Papa's by himself. And he wasn't nice to his mother. Uncle Jim wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So he stood as long as he could. And he met this John, what did I say his name was?
I think you said Campbell. That's what got me.
John Campbell. That was his name.
Yeah.
That was his name. And he'd been coming around, and he trying to teach him how to do different little things. And so he went and talked he and his wife talked, and then he went and talked to Granny one day. Said, this little boy is a smart little boy. And said, we would like to have him. Said, we don't mean for you to sign no papers to adopt him or nothing like that. We just want him to come and stay when he wants to stay with us, because we don't have no kids. And she said he could. He said, now he can come to see you, or you can come see him whenever you get ready. But we want to keep him like he's ours, you know. And
now,
he did.
No.
He stayed till he was 21.
Now, you wasn't around then.
Never.
But who told you this?
I don't know.
Who was telling you all of this?
Mama, I think Mama did.
Okay. Mama was telling you.
Didn't nobody else know?
Okay. Sally knew, didn't she? What?
Yeah, but she didn't. She wouldn't tell that.
Okay.
No, she wouldn't tell that. She didn't know. She told me lots of things, but she didn't tell me that.
Oh, no. Okay.
But Uncle Jim was the last one that died. Papa was killed accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
And Granny died later after that. And he worked till he was 21. And a young man back in them days, when you're 21, they don't bother you anymore. You do whatever you please. I remember when he gave Joseph a whooping when he was 19.
Who?
Papa.
Okay. Well, Mother whooped me. She liked to kill me when I was 19.
He whooped him and a friend he had. His name was, I forgot, George Lewis was his name.
Mm-hmm.
They went swimming in a pond that was down in the front lawn. It took off all their clothes, and the main white people saw him naked. That's what he got a whoop for. Papa like to kill him.
All right, tell me about Uncle Joseph. What kind of brother was he?
None.
Well, he was still your brother.
He didn't spend no time with us.
Okay.
He didn't spend no time with us, no.
So when he got old enough, he left.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
He married Josie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, was she from Kentucky also?
No, she's from Sugar Grove.
Sugar Grove. Is that's Indianapolis? Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. So he moved up here. Did he come up here with Aunt Blanche?
He come up here. He moved up here twice with his family.
With his family?
Yeah. He had a family, I'm saying, when he moved up here the first time. Then he moved back to Bowling Green again, and then he moved up here again.
So he had a wife before Aunt Josie?
No, same one.
Well, how did he meet her?
In Bowling Green.
So was Sugar Grove?
Was Sugar Grove in Kentucky, or was it?
It's in Kentucky.
Okay, it's in Kentucky.
A little place about like a very small little place, just right out of Bowling
Okay, then she's
Green.
from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Not Bowling Green. Kentucky. All right. Because I was wondering about that. Because I heard them talking about the Uncle Joseph's daughters. They was talking about how they used to swim or was baptized in the river. That was it. They were baptized in the river.
He was something else, my brother. When his kids got big enough to work around, white people would give you some kind of little job, you know, like to cut the grass or clean up the basement or any kind of little job where they'd give you a little change, you know, back in them days. And might not be, wasn't like a regular job, you know, just hit and miss.
As needed.
Yeah. And Jonelle, I think it was, not Myra. She was too popular for that. She and Harold had these little piece of jobs, and Joseph took, when they got paid, he took the money. He was something else.
Okay.
He was. Yep. What else do you need?
I was just.
About when Papa was 21?
Well, no, I don't know that.
The man saved his money for him. He stayed with them people, go visit his mother, and she come to visit him, and they get along fine. And they raised him. They bought his clothes, and the man saved his money, his salary. When he got 21, they gave it to him. He bought him a horse and a saddle and a 38.
Yeah, you go shoot Uncle Jim.
Yes, he did.
Now, when did he get the Model T?
Oh, that's after his marriage.
Oh, okay.
After the horse and buggy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually had a car.
He had two. He had an old Chevy. I used to go drive that too. I learned on the Model T and a thing in the floor that you shift with.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, Buston could drive and I could too. Yeah.
When did Aunt Elsie come up here?
Yeah, she came. Well, she was here. She came home. She and Aunt Blanche came home when Papa was killed, but they didn't get there for the funeral. They got there later that Sunday. I think he was buried on Sunday. I think they didn't usually do funerals on Sunday, but they did his.
Well, they did. For
couldn't-
him to get a spread in the newspaper, that was something.
Well, he didn't. He couldn't be embalmed. He was crushed up so bad that they couldn't embalm him, and they had to go ahead and have his funeral. Now, the people he worked for was the cause of his death, but they didn't give Mama nothing except they paid for his burial.
Mm-hmm.
Crocodile was a Negro that buried him. You know that
The funeral home?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And Papa hated him. He didn't like him. They didn't speak, but it couldn't be helped because they had made the.
Well, he was already gone. He didn't have no control over
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And they called themselves making the arrangement, and that's all they did. And we lived in their house, and then we had to move because
Okay.
he had to hire somebody else to work. But he didn't have to do it so quick.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go from there when you moved?
Your son didn't hear on my bed.
Yes, ma'am.
She covered that earlier.
Oh, did you?
So did I get you up to the snuff?
Yeah, you got me. You've told me.
He couldn't shoot him. It wasn't intended.
You know, you told me about that earlier. It didn't go off. The bullet.
Mm-mm.
And what you're talking about now is when Papa Harry got his 38 and went to shoot Uncle Jim.
That's what he
Right.
went for. Yeah.
And he pulled the trigger and it didn't go off.
And
Right.
until he turned it off down the way somewhere, off of him, went off every time.
Now there's a story. Now I never told you this. It's just a story that I picked up in service. They always say a bullet never lies. In other words, if you point a gun at somebody and pull the trigger, if it don't go off, it ain't supposed to. Bullet never lies.
No,
And then you say he turned it the other way, and
went off every time.
all 6 of them.
And he quit. He quit. He didn't try anymore. He had such to know that it wasn't intended.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't try to do it anymore. No. And Uncle Jim lived. Granny almost died when Papa did. When she found out what had happened to him, well, she passed out and rolled on the floor and everything. We had time with her. I had to get the doctor for her.
No, this was when Uncle Jim died.
When Papa died.
Papa died.
When Papa
Okay.
died. Because he was all she had.
Uh-huh.
And,
Well, she had Uncle Jim.
well,
He says
She had a lot of fun. Uncle Jim was a lot of fun.
He was live, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know. I know what you mean. Uncle Jim was fun, and Papa Harry took care of business.
Yeah. Strictly.
Mm-hmm.
You was talking about him in the wintertime, what he did for his time. He got up like he always did and went and milked the cows and fed the stock. And then he would take care of when he got all of his tools, he took good care of his tools. Everything he had shined.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care work. And that, when the weather was so that he's caught up and had some free time, well, he'd come and get us at school. We didn't have to walk home from school.
Okay.
He'd come and get us.
I don't know how much time I got left on this, but tell me the story about the men with the wagons and picking up the ties and
Uncle Jim fell off.
And Uncle Jim lost.
Uncle Jim. Yeah, that is.
Uncle Jim.
No, it wasn't Uncle Jim. It was Joseph.
Uncle Jim lost Joseph.
Yeah. Yeah. He's sitting up on that. He's 2 years old.
Didn't even know.
Sitting up on that ride and they're hauling cross ties. And there's deep snow on the ground. Uncle Jim drinking that old stuff out of a jar, you know. Lost him. He didn't even know he lost him.
That's the funny part.
The man, it was several of these men that had a team in the wagon that was hauling cross ties. You'd go pick them up at one place and take them to another and unload them. And they just went all day just like a job, you know. Mm-hmm. And the next man was on him, found Uncle Joe. Joseph found Joseph laying in the snow. He just picked him up and set him up on and went on.
Like you lost a bag off.
I bet you. Uncle Jim was a lot of fun. He had to be a lot of fun.
He used to let us cut his hair.
Oh, you can go to side.
Oh boy. Well.
Lived in Rag Alley.
He gave Uncle Jim gave who
Gave
away?
them away.
Gave who away?
Papa and Uncle Jim, Uncle Joe.
Oh, Uncle Jim give away.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one. Uncle Jim gave away Papa and Uncle Joe.
How you think Granny felt? Sure did. And Mama's father, I told you, he was a big old black man, great big old man. Wasn't fat, he was tall and big. And he went to town in his horse and buggy. He had a white horse. And people used to park the same place, like a car, you know what I mean, park in the same place. And these kids saw that old horse. They knew that horse. And they went there and stayed with that horse till Papa's grandfather came back and he took him home.
You still, honey, I need your feet to keep your feet still.
Mm-hmm.
Move your feet, make sure.
Okay.